You're going to help me buy a car. That's what family does. My sister set her wine glass down on the dining table. The overhead light caught the rim just right, sharp, gleaming like the edge of a knife. I stared at her, then at my parents sitting across from us. The lasagna I'd spent 2 hours making sat dead center, steam still rising off the bubbling mozzarella. "No," I said. You know that moment when a single word drops into a room and everything just stops? My father's fork froze halfway to his mouth. My mother's eyes went wide, like I'd just spoken in tongues. Emily, my kid sister, 32 years old and still living like she was 23, she actually laughed. Not a real laugh, the kind that says she thinks you're kidding. "No," she repeated, drawing the word out slow. "No." My father set his fork down, carefully, the kind of careful that means trouble's coming. He looked at me the way you'd look at a stranger who just walked into your house uninvited. "You say no to your family," he said, voice low and flat. "You're not my daughter anymore." My heart kicked hard against my ribs. The smell of tomato sauce and roasted garlic that had filled my apartment with warmth 20 minutes ago suddenly felt suffocating. I pushed my chair back, the legs scraped loud against the hardwood, and I stood up. I grabbed the casserole dish, still scorching hot, cheese bubbling at the edges, garlic bread on the side. I walked straight to the kitchen and scraped every last bit into the trash can. The whole thing. 2 hours of work. Gone. "Dinner's over," I said. I didn't yell it. I just said it. Then I walked to the front door and opened it, stood there, waiting. Emily snatched up her purse, muttering something about me being dramatic and impossible. Mom reached for my arm, that soft touch she uses when she wants to smooth things over with actually fixing anything. But I stepped back. My father didn't even look at me as he walked past, just kept his eyes straight ahead, jaw tight. The door clicked shut behind them, and my apartment went completely silent. Nothing but the wall clock in the kitchen. Tick, tick, tick. Like it was counting down to something I couldn't see yet. Here's what you need to know. I'd just gotten promoted. Regional operations manager at a mid-size logistics company. 42 years old, and it was the first real career win I'd had in a decade. It wasn't quit your job and buy a boat money, but it was finally breathe without checking your bank balance every morning money. For the first time in years, I thought I could have one normal family dinner. One night where nobody hit me up for rent or bills or some emergency that always seemed to land in my lap. I made the lasagna from scratch, Grandma's recipe, the one with the ricotta and the fresh basil. I set the table with actual cloth napkins. I even bought wine. I wanted normal. I got an ambush. Let me back up. For the past 18 months, I'd been the family's ATM. Rent money when Dad's hours got cut at the plant, electric bill when Mom's check bounced, again, Emily's emergency root canal, $2,000, because she didn't have insurance and couldn't eat solid food, credit card minimums, a weekend healing retreat to the coast because Mom said she was spiritually depleted. Every single time, they said they'd pay me back. Every single time, I believed them. I wasn't being generous. I was being used. I just didn't see it yet. But that night, sitting at my own table in my own apartment, watching Emily scroll through photos of a white SUV with leather seats and a premium sound system, $25,000, something finally snapped. She didn't have a job, not a steady one. She'd been between opportunities for 8 months, doing gig work here and there, dog walking, some online thing that never panned out. And she wanted me to co-sign, put my name on the loan, my credit score, my financial neck on the chopping block. "You'll barely notice the payments," she'd said, swiping through interior shots like she was shopping for throw pillows. "It'll be in my name. You just help with the down payment and sign the paperwork." My mother said nothing, just pushed green beans around her plate with her fork, eyes down. That silence told me everything. She knew it was insane. She just wasn't going to be the one to say it. And my father, he delivered that disownment threat like he was reading the weather. Flat, cold, no room for negotiation. So I said no, and I threw out the lasagna. The next morning, I woke up at 6:42 a.m., didn't even make coffee. I sat at my kitchen table, opened my laptop, and logged into my bank account. It took me 16 minutes to burn it all down. I closed every joint account we had, canceled the supplementary credit card I'd given my mother for emergencies, shut off the autopay I'd set up for their cell phone bill, opened a new checking account at a completely different bank, changed the email on file, deleted their phone numbers from my recovery options. By 7:30 a.m., my phone started going off. I watched it vibrate across the counter like a trapped animal. 43 missed calls from my mother by the time I left for work. I didn't answer a single one. I let that phone rattle and buzz, that persistent hum like a hornet caught in a mason jar. Each vibration felt like it was hammering something into my chest. Not guilt, something else. Resolve. The bone-deep realization that the board had flipped, and for the first time in my adult life, I was the one holding the pieces. You might think I was trying to hurt her. That's not it. I just needed to remember this feeling. The first time they needed something from me, and I didn't give it. The first time I chose myself. Have you ever had to set a hard boundary with your own family? I mean, a real one, the kind that costs you something. Drop a comment and tell me where you're from and what you went through. And hit that subscribe button, because what comes next is going to get a whole lot worse before it gets better. That afternoon, I was sitting in a budget meeting, fluorescent lights buzzing, someone droning on about third-quarter freight metrics, when my phone screen lit up. An email from my father. Subject line, "You've made your point." I opened it. "Transfer the car money by Friday." That was it. 4 words. No apology for threatening to disown me at my own dinner table. No acknowledgement of what he'd said or how he'd said it. No mention of the lasagna I'd scraped into the trash or the door I'd closed in their faces. Just a demand. Cold as a bill collector. Like I was a vending machine that had temporarily malfunctioned and he was telling me to get back online. I read it once, then again, then I forwarded it to a folder I'd just created on my desktop. I named the folder Evidence. Because sitting there in that conference room, listening to someone talk about logistics optimization while my phone buzzed silently in my lap, I realized something. This wasn't going to be a simple no, and we all move on. This was going to be war, and I was going to document every single shot they fired. That night, I did something I'd been avoiding for 18 months. I opened every app, every statement, every text thread where money had changed hands. Venmo, PayPal, Zelle, bank transfers, even the crumpled receipts shoved in my junk drawer, cash I'd handed over and never seen again. I made a spreadsheet. Date, amount, person, reason, and that last column, promise to repay, where I recorded every single lie. I'll get you next week, just until Friday. You know I'm good for it. 4 hours later, my neck ached and my eyes burned, but there it was at the bottom of the screen, $17,852. The number sat there like a stone in my chest. I saved it, backed it up 3 places, then I closed my laptop and sat in the dark, listening to my neighbor drag furniture overhead. That number meant I'd been funding my own humiliation for a year and a half. The next morning, I woke up to 17 notifications, password reset requests, Amazon, my bank, Netflix, LinkedIn, all sent between 2 and 4 a.m. while I'd been asleep. I checked the IP addresses, same location as my parents' house. Someone was trying to break into my accounts. I screenshotted everything, changed every password to random strings I had to store in a password manager, turned on 2-factor authentication everywhere. Then I called Sarah, a lawyer friend from college. I need advice about identity theft protection, I said. She didn't ask questions, just sent me links to credit monitoring services and walked me through freezing my credit with all 3 bureaus. How bad is it? She finally asked. I don't know yet. I'm just being careful. Good, she said. Stay that way. By Thursday, everything stopped. No more calls, no more emails, just silence. And somehow that was worse, because silence from my family didn't mean peace. It meant they were planning the next move. Saturday morning, I found a package outside my door. No return address. Inside was a picture frame, a photo from a beach trip years ago. All 4 of us smiling in front of a sunset. We looked like we actually loved each other. I turned it over. Taped to the back was a handwritten note in my mother's careful script. Still fixable. Just call. Fixable, like I was a broken appliance they could reset. Like all I had to do was apologize for having boundaries and everything would go back to normal. Normal meant I kept paying, kept quiet, kept smiling while they drained my bank account. I put the frame back in the box, sealed it with packing tape, and dropped it down the trash chute. Listened to it crash 4 floors down. Monday morning, HR called me in. My stomach dropped, but Linda, the HR manager, gestured for me to close the door. Someone called asking about your employment, she said, sliding a pink message slip across her desk. Said they were family, wanted to verify your title, tenure, salary range, said they were helping you get approved for a car loan. My hands went numb. I didn't authorize that, I said. I know, that's why I'm telling you. We didn't give them anything, but you need to be aware. They'd tried to use my job as leverage, without asking, without telling me. They were going to put my name on paperwork and hope I'd be too guilty to fight back. I didn't call them. I just let them sit in the silence and wonder what I knew. That weekend, I opened my spreadsheet again, added a new column at the top. Interest. 10% annually, compounded monthly. Same rate my credit cards charged. If they wanted to treat me like a bank, I'd act like one. Sunday night, I sent a message to the family group chat. You owe me $19,637. Detailed breakdown attached. Payment plan starts next month. The chat exploded. Emily, in all caps, you're profiting off family. My dad sent a link about gift law, how gifts can't be reclaimed. My mom left a voicemail, voice shaking. Families don't keep score. Choose peace. Peace had already cost me $19,000. I chose accountability. The next morning, I sent the spreadsheet. Every transaction, color-coded by person. Red for Dad, blue for Mom, green for Emily. Each one with a date, what they'd promised, and a payment plan. At the bottom, I added, if payments don't start, I will reclaim assets still in my name. Emily's MacBook, the TV at Mom and Dad's. If anyone uses my name without consent, I will respond with legal action. I hit send. Wednesday morning, a white envelope slid under my door. Inside was $200 in cash, $20 bills folded in half. No note. It was the first time in 18 months they'd paid me back anything. Habits don't shatter all at once. They fracture slowly. This was the first crack. I logged it in my spreadsheet, updated the balance. $19,437 remaining. Then my phone buzzed, a LinkedIn message from someone I didn't know. Hey, Emily told me you've been stealing from your parents and they had to cut you off. Just wanted to hear your side. It was her ex-boyfriend, someone she'd called to build a case against me. I didn't feel angry. I felt clear. They'd moved the battlefield, so I moved my defenses. I contacted a friend in crisis communications, sent her everything, the spreadsheet, the emails, the screenshots, the HR incident. She helped me organize it into one folder. Documentation. Clean, chronological, undeniable. I sent it to 3 people: my supervisor, the head of HR, and my mother. Subject line, "For your records." No explanation, just the files. The next morning at 6:41, my mom texted, "What did you send? Emily is panicking. Delete it." I left it on read. 2 days later, my doorbell rang. Emily stood there alone. No makeup, hair in a messy ponytail, eyes swollen but not prying. "I lost my job," she said. "I'm sorry," I said, and I meant it. "Can you help me get an interview at your company?" "Maybe," I said, "if you sign something first." I handed her a printed payment agreement. Her portion, $4,200, $50 a month to start, scaling up as she got stable work. She stared at it for a long time. "Let me think about it," she said. "This isn't a math problem, Emily," I said. "It's a choice." She folded the paper and left without another word. I closed the door and leaned against it. My apartment was completely silent. No demands, no guilt trips wrapped in "I love you." Just quiet. And for the first time in years, that quiet felt like winning. 5 days of silence. No texts, no calls, no packages. Just that heavy quiet before a storm breaks. Tuesday night, 9 p.m., my doorbell rang. Through the peephole, Emily and my mom, standing close like they were holding each other up. I opened the door. "We need to talk," my mom said. Her voice was different, smaller, no performance in it. I stepped aside. They sat on my couch. Emily's hands twisted in her lap. My mom set her purse down like it might explode. "I'll sign," Emily said quietly. I waited. "I got a job. Warehouse work, part-time, but steady. I start Thursday." My mom pulled out a folded paper from her purse, my spreadsheet, but covered in handwritten notes. E-M-D next to each line. Emily, Mom, Dad. Payment schedules penciled below each name. 2 signatures at the bottom. Emily's, shaky but real. Mom's, in her neat teacher script. "We worked it out," my mom said. "Who owes what? How we'll pay." I took the paper. The numbers were reasonable, the timeline honest. "Where's Dad?" My mom's jaw tightened. "He hasn't signed." "Why not?" She looked at Emily, then back at me. Her voice cracked. "I told him if he doesn't, I'm done with the marriage." I blinked. In 42 years, I'd never heard my mother set a boundary, not once. "I've enabled him for 30 years, she said. "Let him bully you, Emily, me. If he can't sign a paper admitting he owes money he actually borrowed, I don't know who I married." "Mom, I should have done this 20 years ago." The next morning, a text from my dad. 1 word, "Fine." An hour later, an email. Scanned attachment, the agreement. 3 signatures now. Emily's, Mom's, and at the bottom, scratched in jagged ink, my father's. The email said only, "Done." I printed it, stared at those 3 names. I didn't feel victorious. I felt like I'd just broken a fever, exhausted but clear. 2 weeks later, the first payments arrived. Emily, $60 via Venmo. Note, payment 1. Next day, white envelope under my door. $40 cash, rubber banded, Mom's handwriting on a sticky note. More next month. Dad's came at 11:57 p.m. on the last day of the month. $100. Memo, satisfied? I laughed, sharp, bitter, but opened my spreadsheet and logged it. Balance $19,237. Next month, they paid again. Emily 3 days late, but she paid. Mom's envelope came early. Dad transferred exactly on time, proving some kind of point. It wasn't smooth, but it was real. Habits form in friction, not silence. 6 weeks later, Emily called. "Hey," she said, The warehouse job sucks, but I'm getting steady hours. I'm looking at accounting classes at community college. Just thought I'd tell you. Not asking, just updating, like normal people do. That's good, Em, I said, and meant it. A week later, Mom texted a photo. Her wearing a name badge, volunteer coordinator at a senior care facility. No caption, just the picture. Her eyes tired, but something else there too. Pride. Then Dad left a voicemail. I was a terrible father. I know that now. Can we talk? I stared at my phone, then texted, coffee, Saturday, 10 a.m., Maple Street Diner. We sat across from each other. He ordered black coffee, I got tea. Signing that paper felt like admitting I failed, he said, not looking at me. As a provider, as a man, as a father. I waited. But losing you? He looked up. That would be worse. Not quite an apology, but closer to accountability than I'd ever heard. You treated me like an ATM for 18 months, I said. I know. You told me I wasn't your daughter. I know, his voice broke. The diner noise filled the space. Dropped plates, coffee refills, the world moving around us. I'm paying for my own coffee, I said. He nodded. Yeah, you should. That night, 3 payments hit my account, early. No notes, no passive aggression, just the money. I updated my spreadsheet, then added a new column, behavior change. The money mattered, but what mattered more was this. They were learning, slowly, painfully, learning that staying in my life required earning it, not with words, with action. Have you been treated like a family ATM? If you've set a boundary and actually kept it, comment boundary below. I'm reading every one. I keep thinking about that dinner. The burnt cheese smell, my fork hitting the plate, Dad's face when I said no. That unreasonable demand, $25,000 for a car Emily didn't need, cracked something open, something that needed breaking. It showed me the hole I'd been living in, the hole I'd dug myself, one guilty yes at a time, thinking it made me good, thinking it meant love. It didn't. It just made me broke, exhausted, and invisible. The attacks stopped eventually. No more HR calls, no LinkedIn messages, no guilt trip boxes. Just the payment schedule. And slowly, something else emerged. Real conversations. Emily sent a screenshot of her first A on an accounting quiz. Mom asked for my soup recipe. Dad texted about a football game. Small things, normal things, things that cost me nothing but time. I opened my spreadsheet and typed at the top in bold, money is the number, respect is the habit. Because that's what this really was. Not about $17,000, not even about being repaid. It was about teaching them and myself that love doesn't mean letting people drain you until nothing's left. 3 months in, the pattern held. Emily paid every month, sometimes $60, sometimes $40, once $25 with a note, rent was late, catching up next week. And she did. Not perfect, but consistent. My mom started texting before payments. Only have 30 this month. We'll make it up in May. I'd reply the same every time. Stick to the schedule. No begging, no guilt, just the plan. That's when I knew something had shifted. They weren't asking for exceptions anymore. They were managing their money and figuring out how to meet the terms they'd agreed to. But I needed more than payments. I needed to make sure this wasn't just temporary. So one night, I sat down and typed out a document. Called it Financial Boundaries, effective immediately. 5 rules. No borrowing, period. No shared passwords. No co-signing, no guarantees, no using my name without notarized written consent. Every request goes through formal written agreement. Anyone who violates these gets a 90-day communication pause. No exceptions. I sent it to the family group chat. No explanation, no emotional appeal. Just new rules. Read and acknowledge. Mom replied first. Understood. Emily sent a thumbs up. Dad took 6 hours. Then, fine. I wasn't being cruel. I was building a firewall, a clean line between helping and being used. A week later, Dad stopped sending those links. You know the ones. Articles about how family loans aren't real debt, how children owe parents, all that manipulation disguised as education. Instead, he sent a photo. Him under the kitchen sink with a wrench, fixing a pipe. Caption, doing it myself. Then a hardware store receipt, paid in full, his card. Small, but it was a language I'd never heard from him. Self-reliance. I didn't gush, just hearted the message. Acknowledgement, not applause. Another month passed. Dad called on a Tuesday evening. I almost ignored it, but something made me answer. Hey, he said. Hey, how's work? I paused. He'd never asked that before, not in a real way. Busy. Good though. They're talking about expanding my territory. That's great. You thinking about staying in the city? We talked for 20 minutes about work, my apartment, whether I wanted to get a dog. Normal things. Father-daughter things. No requests, no hidden agendas, just conversation. I'll let you go, he finally said. Just wanted to check in. Thanks. After we hung up, I sat on my couch staring at the ceiling. That call felt like more progress than all the payments combined. Boundaries aren't walls, they're gates. You open them when people earn it, but you don't leave them wide open just because someone shares your blood. Then came the test. Tuesday morning, my phone rang. Unknown number. Voicemail. Hi, this is David from Premier Auto Group. We have a credit application here with your name as co-signer for a 2024 Nissan Rogue. Just need to verify employment. I didn't finish listening. I drafted an email immediately. To whom it may concern, I have not authorized anyone to use my name, credit, or employment information for any vehicle purchase. Any application bearing my name is fraudulent. Attached is my signed affidavit of non-consent. Do not contact me regarding this matter. Sent to the dealership, CC'd corporate, forwarded to all 3 credit bureaus with fraud alerts. Then I waited. No angry calls from Emily, no defensive texts from my parents, no group chat explosion. Just silence. 2 days later, Mom texted. We told her no. That was it. No excuses, no, she's going through a hard time. Just accountability. Emily never mentioned it, not once. That's how I knew the rules had stuck. They weren't just following the payment plan, they were respecting boundaries. Not because they wanted to, because they had to. A month later, I did something I hadn't done in years. I muted the family group chat. Not from anger, not from spite. I just didn't need constant notifications anymore. Didn't need every random message, every meme, every good morning gif. I'd check once a day, respond when necessary, but otherwise, my phone stayed quiet. And that quiet felt like peace. Real peace, not from avoiding conflict, from knowing you've set terms and the other side is learning to respect them. Dad sent a photo one evening, a leaky faucet, then it fixed. Saved $80. I smiled, sent a thumbs up. Mom shared her name badge from the senior center. 3 shifts a week now. I replied, proud of you. Emily posted her class schedule. Enrolled in financial literacy next semester. I hearted it. Small moments, but they mattered. They weren't performed for me, weren't demands or guilt trips or manipulation, just updates from people learning to stand on their own. The spreadsheet still sat on my desktop, updated every month, balance ticking down slowly. 18,437, 18,177, 17,909. It would take years to reach 0, maybe longer, but that wasn't the point anymore. The point was the number moved in the right direction, and more importantly, behavior moved in the right direction. I added a note at the bottom in small text. Money is the number, respect is the habit. Then I saved it, backed it up, and closed my laptop. The fight wasn't over, probably never would be. There'd be slip-ups, tests, moments where old patterns tried creeping back. But I wasn't the same person who threw lasagna in the trash and slammed the door. I was someone who knew her worth, who knew the difference between helping and being hollowed out, and I wasn't going back. Every month now, when a payment hits my account, I don't feel victorious. I just breathe. I hear that notification, soft ting, and close my eyes for a second. The air conditioner hums steady in the background, rhythmic, like everything's finally breathing at the right pace. Then I make dinner, just for me, something I actually want. Pasta with garlic and olive oil, steak with roasted vegetables, sometimes just scrambled eggs on toast with hot sauce. I eat it hot, at my own table. Nobody asks for a bite, nobody expects me to share what I made for myself. That's healing, not the money coming back, the quiet. Emily sent me a photo last week, her accounting midterm grade, A-, the message said. No request attached. No, can you help me study for the final, or can you lend me money for books? Just the accomplishment, shared like normal siblings do. I replied, proud of you, Em. She sent back a simple, thanks. That 2-second exchange meant more than any apology ever could. Mom started sharing her work schedule with me, not asking me to cover bills during lean weeks, just showing me her life. 4 shifts this week, thinking about picking up a 5th, like she was proud to have them, proud to be earning her own way. I responded with encouragement, don't burn yourself out. She replied, I'm fine, I like being busy. Dad texted me out of nowhere on a Sunday morning. How do you make that pour-over coffee you mentioned? Trying to quit Starbucks, save some money. I sent him a YouTube link, a timer recommendation, and the brand of beans I use. He sent back, thanks, this'll help. No drama, no demands, just a father asking his daughter for advice about coffee. We're not perfect. We're not some Hallmark movie reunion where everyone hugs and cries and the music swells. But we stopped performing. We stopped pretending that family meant I had to bleed myself dry to prove I loved them. Here's what I've learned, and I need you to really hear this. Family is not a wallet that talks. Family is people who are willing to learn how to love you in healthy ways. That means respecting your time, your work, your boundaries, your right to say no without being threatened or guilted or told you're selfish or cold. Peace doesn't come from staying quiet while people take everything from you. Peace comes from discipline, from honoring the truth, even when it's uncomfortable, from building something real instead of pretending broken things are fine. For 18 months, I thought I was being a good daughter, a good sister. I thought love meant never saying no, never keeping score, never asking for anything in return, just giving and giving until there was nothing left. But that's not love. That's exhaustion dressed up as virtue. That's martyrdom wrapped in family obligation. Real love has limits. Healthy love has terms. And the people who truly care about you, they'll respect those terms, even if it takes them a while, even if they fight it at first, even if they have to learn the hard way. If you're being treated like a human ATM right now, if your phone rings and your stomach drops because you know they're calling for money, here's what I want you to hear. Document everything. Write it down. Every dollar, every promise, every I'll pay you back next Friday that turns into silence, every Venmo request with a sob story attached. Keep it all. Set the rules clearly. Tell them exactly what you will and won't do. Put it in writing if you have to. Don't apologize for having boundaries. Don't negotiate with people who think guilt is legal tender. Prepare your evidence. Keep records, screenshot texts, save emails, protect your credit, lock down your accounts, change your passwords. This isn't paranoia. This is self-preservation. And then, this is the hardest part. Stay consistent. Don't cave when they cry. Don't fold when they rage. Don't let them gaslight you into thinking you're the problem. Don't let them rewrite history or blame you for the consequences of their own choices. Love doesn't heal greed, but boundaries do. When you stop funding dysfunction, people have exactly two choices. They can change or they can leave. Either way, you get your life back. The balance on my spreadsheet is still there. It's dropped to just under $16,000 now. At this rate, it'll take another 2 years to reach zero, maybe longer if something comes up on their end. But you know what? I'm not in a hurry anymore. Because what matters isn't the debt getting paid off on some perfect timeline. What matters is that my family learned they can't just take from me without consequence. They have to give. They have to contribute. They have to earn their place in my life, the same way I've had to earn everything I have. That's not cruelty. That's respect. And respect is the foundation of every relationship worth keeping. Last week, Dad called to tell me he'd fixed the dishwasher himself instead of calling a repairman, saved $120. He sounded genuinely pleased with himself. I told him that was great, and it was. Mom sent me a picture of her first paycheck from her new position. Not the amount, just the check itself, with the employer name visible. A milestone. Emily texted asking if I wanted to get coffee sometime. Not to borrow money, just to catch up. I said yes. These are small things, ordinary things, the kind of things healthy families do without fanfare. But for us, they're revolutionary. Have you ever had to cut off financial access to your own family? Have you had to choose between boundaries and guilt? Drop a comment below and share your story. I'm reading every single one, and I promise you you're not alone. And hit that subscribe button, because next week, I'm telling you about the wedding I wasn't invited to and the $14,000 venue deposit I pulled back with one tiny clause buried in a contract nobody thought I'd read. Next time, the text message that said, "You're not invited," my mother's heart emoji response like that made it okay, and how I legally reclaimed every dime of a wedding they'd tried to plan in my name without my permission. Thanks for sticking with me through this whole story. Here's what I want you to take away. Stay calm. Hold your boundaries firm. The rest will sort itself out. Because the people who really love you will eventually rise to meet you where you are. And the ones who don't, they'll show you exactly who they've been all along. Either way, you'll finally know the truth. And the truth, as painful as it can be, will set you free.